Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie. Today I'm going to be doing a book haul. It's a fall book haul for the books that I got from probably the middle of October until the second week of December. And the first of these books are books that I got back from in October for my birthday. And so that's kind of why there's so many. There would only be like 5 books if I hadn't had a birthday in the fall. The first book I have is The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, and this one follows a person named Fi who I guess comes to collect dead bodies, and she discovers that a prince and his bodyguard have faked their death to escape from this evil queen, and instead of turning them in or I guess trying to even with them for disrupting her job, she decides to help them. And so this one I'm excited to get to whenever I get to it, and I'm hoping it's good. The next book I received for my birthday is Queenie by Candace Carty Williams. And this book I'm really excited to read. I've heard so many things about this book. The first thing I heard was that someone said that they'd heard it was compared to Bridget Jones' Diary, and then it's not because it's not a romantic comedy. And thankfully I've never read or watched Bridget Jones' Diary, so I shouldn't have that preconception going into it. But also, this is about a girl who her life's kind of spiraling. Things aren't going how she would like for them to go. Her friends like try to help her, but they don't quite get what's wrong. Her family, she feels like are kind of ignoring her. Her boss, she feels like is kind of ignoring her, and she just broke up with her boyfriend, and I guess he asked her to leave her apartment. So just things are not going how they should be. I've heard this book has a really satisfying or happy, and not necessarily happy, but at least a satisfying ending, and so I am excited to get to this one. Next I have The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros, which I reread in October or September actually, and I read for the first time in I think 6th or 7th grade. I like having this book. This is kind of a book about like a girl and her family. They moved to this house on Mango Street, and it's kind of told in a series of vignettes. And I don't know, I just really like the writing style for this. Next I received When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. This is one I'm very excited to get to. And this one, this person's neighborhood is kind of it's constantly changing. Houses are being sold, people are moving out, new buildings are going up, and it's not the same. So she and a friend work together to try to save her neighborhood. But as they work together, things might be a little bit more sinister than what they look like at face value. And so I'm excited to read this book. I heard a lot of people talking about it back in I think October and November, or maybe September and October, I don't remember which. But I am really excited to get to this one. Next I have You Had Me at Ola by Alexis Daria, and I already read this one, and I think I rated it 4 stars. This follows 2 characters who are both the girl, I cannot remember her name. She was like a daytime soap opera star, and then the male lead, he was on telenovelas, and they kind of are both working on this project that's produced by a company that's similar to Netflix, and it's like inspired by telenovelas and soap operas. And then while they're playing characters who are ex-partners, they are also kind of falling in love on set, but they both have reasons for why they can't be together. She wants to prove herself as an independent woman who isn't only ever in the tabloids for breakups, whereas he has some pretty big secrets of his own. And you find out what his secret is pretty early on, but she doesn't find out what his secret is till the very end. But I really enjoyed this book, and it was a lot of fun to read. Next is Undercover Romance by Lisa K. Adams. I also read this one already, and I rated it 4 or 5 stars. I don't remember which, but I really enjoyed this one. This one follows Liv and Mac. Liv, she recently lost her job, and then Mac wants to help her kind of get revenge on her boss, and it kind of takes off from there. This one was a little bit darker than the first one, or at least it handled a darker topic, but I think it handled it well and still was able to keep everything like light and fluffy and sweet, and it was a really fun read. Next, I also got Crazy Stupid Romance by Lisa K. Adams, and this is the 3rd romance book club book. This book follows, I think, Alexis, who is Liv's friend from the 1st and 2nd book, and then a guy who was a guy who was added in the 2nd book, and this is their story. And the main character owns a cat cafe, and I think that idea is really cute. So I'm really excited to get to this one whenever I get to it. And those were all the books that I got for my birthday, and now we're just getting on to two random books I picked up recently at Walmart, and then we'll get on to my Book of the Month Club books. So I recently saw You Must Not Miss by Katrina Leno at Walmart, and the cover really caught my attention. I didn't know that this, I didn't remember at the top of my head that this was the same author who wrote Horrid, because Horrid is a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, but I knew the cover art looked similar, and it was really cheap, so I got it. This book follows Magpie, who, like most characters I seem to enjoy, her life is kind of falling apart. It looks like her mom and dad had some type of falling out, her sister left, and something happened at like a high school party she went to. So now she's writing in her notebook about this like made up world called Near, and she like writes it so well that it essentially comes to life in her backyard, but things aren't as nice and perfect and magical about it as it was when it was still just in her head. But I'm really excited to get to this book. The cover art really caught my attention, and this is one that I'm excited to get to pretty soon. Next, I picked up an Ember and Ashes by Saba Tahir. I've heard a lot about the series this month. I think the last book in it was written or was released at the beginning of the month, and so I've definitely been interested in it. And then I saw it for $5 at Walmart the other day, so I got it. But this book follows a girl named Leah. I think her name would be pronounced Leah or Leah. I'm gonna have to look that up. But her family, it knows better than to, go against their government's wishes. They know that that's the best and only way to protect themselves from everything. But then one day her brother's arrested for treason, and she kind of goes to get help from someone else, or from, I guess, rebels. And she also meets a soldier who, Elias, I think, who is not particularly interested in being a soldier. That's like the roughest description I can think of, but I am excited to read this book. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that I like it enough to continue the series, just because this is one that I've heard so much about in the past few weeks that my interest is definitely piqued, and I'm really excited. And then the next three books I have are my October, November, and December Book of the Month Club picks. For October, I picked The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by B.E. Schwab, and I've already read it, and I didn't like it that much. I liked it, but I didn't love it, so I didn't like it that much. It was a 3-star read for me, which I have a blog post or a blog book review on it that I'll have linked below for anyone who's interested. But this book follows a girl named Addie who, in like the late 1700s, made a deal with the devil, death, a demon, whatever you want to call him, the god who answers after dark, to essentially live forever. But he added his own little twist because she wasn't specific enough, and he's not the god she should have been talking to, and no one will remember her. She can't really leave a physical mark on the world, but as time goes by, she learns that she can leave people with ideas and bits of inspiration, and that part was cool. But I didn't really, and I guess I heard a lot of people talking about like her romance with Henry, and so I got excited for that, and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. And also, Henry's an interesting character by himself, but I don't like him with Addie. And I wish Luke, Death, the god who answers after dark, the devil, whatever you want to call him, I wish he had like a point of view chapter 2. It was a good book, but I think it was overhyped for me, so I didn't like it as much as I wish I would have. And then in November, I ordered These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Hopefully by the end of this month, I'll have read this book because it's on my December TBR. And this book takes place in 1920s Shanghai, China. And it's kind of a Romeo and Juliet retelling where the main girl, she and Roma, the boy, are, or at least her intended partner, are in two different gangs, and they're kind of against each other, they don't really work well together. And then all of a sudden, they're having to kind of put their differences aside because something's happening where members of each gang are randomly killing themselves. Not each other, themselves. And that's a problem for their dynamic. Also another rough, bare bones description. But I am excited for this one. I'm also trying not to let the hype get to me with this one, though. Just because I don't want this one to be a disappointment like Addie LaRue was for me. I'm really hoping I'll really enjoy this one. And lastly, I have my December Book of the Month Club pick, This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross-Smith. This book follows a character who she is a therapist, and on her way home from work one day, she sees a man sitting really close to the edge of a bridge or the edge of something. And I think she kind of talks him down and they get to know each other, but she doesn't actually disclose that she is also a therapist, even though she's working really hard to help him and provide a safe space for him. But this is a book I'm really excited to read. I don't think this book actually comes out till February, so I was like, I felt special getting it from Book of the Month Club, since like I know other people got it too, because you know it's like a whole thing. But I am excited to read this book. I'm kind of hoping I can squeeze this book into December, just because I'm really excited to read it. I'm interested in like the characters and how everything works out for them. Anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. I will let you know how the books I haven't read go as I read them, and you can check out my Goodreads, my book blog, and my other videos to see how the books that I have read has gone. And I will keep you guys updated, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.